Let's imagine the following scenarios. You are in the planning phase of your project and you realize that your boss promised to your customer that the completion date is 2 months before your planned date. Or you are in the midst of the project and you realize that you are already 3 weeks behind the drop dead date for the project. Or your boss changed your project priorities and now he said, let's complete the project as soon as possible. So this topic will address strategies for reducing project duration. The choice of options is based on the constraints surrounding the project. There are many good reasons for attempting to reduce the duration of a project. One of the more important reasons today is time to market. Global competition and rapid technological advances has made speed a competitive advantage. To succeed, companies have to spot new opportunities, launch project teams, and bring new products or services to the marketplace in a flash. You can see this speed matter in electronic industry, especially in cell phone industry. The market release time of new products has been cut from 12 to 18 months to 6 to 9 months. Business survival depends not only on rapid innovation but also on adaptability. This requires speedy project management. Another common reason for reducing project time occurs when unforeseen delays, for example, adverse weather, design flaws, and equipment breakdown, cause substantial delays midway in a project. Getting back on schedule usually requires compressing the time on some of the remaining activities. Incentive contracts can make reduction of project time rewarding. For example, a contractor finished a bridge across a lake 18 months early and received more than $6 million for the early completion. Imposed deadlines is also a reason for accelerating project completion. For example, a politician makes a complex statement that a new law building will be available in 2 years. Such statements too often become imposed project duration dates without any consideration of the problems or cost of meeting such a date. This phenomenon actually occurs very frequently in practice. Sometimes very high overhead costs are recognized before the project begins. In these cases, it is prudent to examine the direct cost of shortening the critical path versus the overhead cost saving. Usually, there are opportunities to shorten a few critical activities at less than the daily overhead rate. Finally, there are times when it is important to reassign key equipment and people to new projects. Under these circumstances, the cost of compressing the project can be compared with the opportunity cost of not releasing the key equipment and people. There are some options for accelerating project completion, like adding resources, outsourcing project work, scheduling overtime, establishing a core project team, and do it twice, fast and correctly. These are options if cost is not constrained. So if cost is constrained, the first option is fast tracking. You turn activity relationships from consequential into parallel or concurrent. Or critical chain. Plan each activity, each movement in the project as critical, so you require closer coordination, perfectly smooth in performing. Or you might reduce project scope and compromise quality of the project. Project costs are divided into two categories: indirect cost and direct cost. Project indirect cost cannot be associated with any particular work package or project activity, such as supervision, administration, consultants, and interest. These costs increase with time, so reducing project time directly reduces indirect cost. Direct costs can be assigned directly to a specific work package or project activity like labor, materials, equipment, and subcontractors. Rushing activities or reducing activity durations increases direct cost. Project cost duration graph presents the relationship between time and cost, including indirect, direct, and total cost. Each type of cost for each duration are identified and pointed to the graph. From them, the optimum cost time point can be identified. To identify direct cost to reduce project time, a three-step process should be followed. 1. Gather information about direct and indirect costs of specific project durations. 2. Search critical activities for lowest direct cost activities to shorten project duration. And 3. Compute total cost for specific durations and compare to benefits of reducing project time. To construct a project cost duration graph, as was mentioned before, we will find total direct cost for selected project duration, find total indirect cost for selected project duration, sum direct and indirect cost for these selected project durations, and compare additional cost alternatives for benefits. There are some assumptions in constructing that kind of graph. First, the cost relationship is linear. Normal time assumes low-cost, efficient methods to complete the activity. Rush time represents a limit, the greatest time reduction possible under realistic conditions. Slope represents a constant cost per unit of time, and all accelerations must occur within the normal and rush times. There are some practical considerations that you should keep in mind when you want to reduce any project time. 1. Keep track on indirect cost prior to the decision. Indirect cost is often forgotten when the pressure for action is intense. In reducing project duration, you need to define crush time for activities. However, defining crush time and cost correctively in reality are very hard. Because of hardness in defining crush time and cost, the curving relationship between time and cost is often overcome. The cost-time crushing method relies on choosing the cheapest method for reducing the duration of the project. There are other factors that should be assessed beyond simply cost, like risk, timing of activities, over-allocation resources. The optimum cost time point is also considered in the relationship with risk. The above content show you why we should reduce project time and how we do it. But if cost is the issue, there are some ways that we can apply. We might reduce volume or quantity of activities needed to perform. We can give customers more activities they can do by themselves. You might want to look for cheaper ways to conduct activities like outsourcing project activities or even the entire project. Make sure that you already consider if that or those activities are not related to company technology or information secrets. Or we may use brainstorming for cost-saving options.